everyone. Thank you for joining us today as we celebrate World Peace Day through sharing stories of inspiration about peace. We will also share with you the work of Be in Peace, a nonprofit organization whose mission is to improve the lives of people affected by the trauma of conflict and natural disaster. And together we will practice a guided Metta Meditation to hearten our inner peace and peace on our shared Mother Earth. I would like to welcome Be in Peace board members Renata Crescenzo and Rashida Faid. We're meeting from 3 different continents, Asia, Europe, and North America. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you, Rhonda.
I would like to welcome everybody also who's joining us on this meeting, and I would like to introduce you ladies to our audience. Renata Crescenzo is a trauma-sensitive certified heart math practitioner, stress management coach, and co-founder with Randa Ali of Be in Peace. In 2017, inspired by the trauma relief therapy work of humanitarian psychotherapist Majd Almaz, Renata traveled to Lebanon to support him helping Syrian war refugees using heart math techniques and realized her life purpose of bringing peace to all beings on the planet. Dr. Rashida Faid is an educational linguist, interpreter, translator, and spiritual consultant who has a PhD in curriculum, instruction and administration, a PhD in linguistics, a master's in English language and linguistics, a bachelor's in English literature and language. She currently serves as a spiritual care professional, practicing spiritual clinical hypnotherapy, and a spiritual life coach who practices worldwide, including Middle East, Western Europe, and Latin America. And myself, I'm Randa Ali, and as a feminine resilience coach, my passion is to bring peace and empowerment into the hearts of women around the world through my coaching. Now, going back to the topic of our meeting today, and that is peace. And we all want peace in our lives, right? We go about our lives trying to reach that state of peace in our work, our relationships, in our lifestyle. We really want to be in that state of peace. We want to be in peace. And sometimes we're capable of achieving that, other times not so much. And then we may look at the bigger picture with all of the conflict and natural disasters happening around the world, leaving many in need for peace. We may think, how can I, someone who's trying to figure out their own peace, make any difference in this bigger picture? I'm not influential, I'm not in a position of power, and so we may tend to think that we are powerless. But I want you to hold to that thought as I share this with you. In the 1980s, and during the peak of the Lebanon War, an incredible study was conducted. It was hypothesized based on many previous smaller experiments. About 1,000 people came together for this experiment in Jerusalem, meditating together with the aim of peace in neighboring Lebanon. Scientists charted at the same time progress towards peace. This translated to reduced war deaths, reduced injuries, and number of bombs dropped in the location where the meditation was focused. And the data from this experiment was astounding. When put through mathematical analysis, the likelihood that these results were due to some fluke or chance were less than 1 part in 10,000. And so when the results of the study were published in the Yale University Journal of Conflict Resolution, it ignited a firestorm in the scientific community. So over the next 2.25 years, 7 other scientific collaborations went out and repeated the study, training and assembling groups of meditators to see its effect on war. And in every one of these experiments during this 2.25-year period, there was a marked reduction in war and violence, about 80% drop in war deaths and war-related injuries. So I share this with you to tell you that science now confirms our capacity to influence the world through sending intentions of peace. And this is what we're going to do at the end of this talk today. And I believe that we each have our own unique way of bringing peace into this world. And so I would like to ask Dr. Rashida Faid. Dr. Rashida, how do you see the need for peace given the current refugee crisis and the recent natural disasters? What are the ways through which we can add peace into this world?
Oh, thank you so much for what you presented about the experiment. And the question lends itself to speaking about more like the social responsibility, and I think that's kind of through the Be in Peace nonprofit is as a model for that. But I see also from like a personal point of view, like personal responsibility is one where we have to also change internally. If we don't carry peace within our heart, we can't transmit that to the world. So it's like the way I see it is that we as individuals, we need to work on ourselves. There are, like steps, to reach a state, of peace. Peace, when you enter, like at the cave, within your heart, and you really start to feel that inner expansion within ourselves, and that expansion has to do with when we look at the world, when we see the drama, when we see the torture, when we see people suffering, what do I feel? Like Rumi says, I mean, this is beautiful quote. If you're irritated, if your heart is rubbed, then how would you polish the mirror of your heart? In the sense that when we see all this, any person in a situation, mostly we look at it that I need to pick out the weeds out of my own internal garden, in a sense. And once my beautiful heart, my garden is reflect only beauty, peace, it reflects mercy, it reflects compassion and service to others, and seeing everybody else as my family, as me, as myself. I think that's kind of the way we reach the peace. And of course it has it's individual work, like you said, people who are meditating, that's one way. When I'm in the world, when somebody irritates me, when somebody triggers whatever part of my heart that needs to heal, how do I respond? Do I dismiss them? Do I shoot the messenger? Or I embrace them and I try to look at myself and really breathe through it and see what needs to change in me. Then it would also be kind of transmitted and felt with other people. And then you start, people look at you and they see that you're a person of peace, and you carry the peace and you transmit the peace of God, and that peace that's needed to serve other people, to connect with others, to start little projects. And I think that's kind of the most important part is what do I carry? If I carry peace, then I get together with beautiful women like yourselves and other people, and then we could do more. We multiply that beautiful energy, and we make the world a better place, a peaceful place. And I think once I think when I just read a quote by Abdul Baha or Baha'u'llah, he said that really to reach peace also is like it has to be to truly understand the element of unity, that we are all one, the Tawheed, like the Islamic concept, like we are all one. There's no you, there is no me, we are all one. And we all need to be living in a beautiful, world, in a sense.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rashida. Thank you so much. Now I will leave you with Renata Crescendo. She will share with us the story of Be in Peace.
Okay, everyone. I'm going to share a little bit about the history of how we formed our nonprofit organization. And can everybody see the screen? Okay. So this is the story of Be in Peace. So they say that the longest journey you will ever take is the one from your head to your heart. And from my experience, I say that's very true. For me, this story of being peace begins in the fall of 2016 when I read the article on the HeartMath website, Syrian Refugees Find Ease Amid Chaos, about the work being done by Syrian-born American trauma therapist Maj Kamal Maz in Lebanon, helping refugees of the Syrian war. I was inspired to learn about a 6-week therapy program that had a 90% success cure rate with children suffering from enuresis or bedwetting, which is a common symptom of trauma. Notice the shift in this little boy after completing the 6-week program. Learning about his work, I felt strongly called to help him. I was now certified as a HeartMath trainer and was in a position to pursue what my heart called me to do. I wanted to meet this man and see if I could somehow support him in his work with my training in HeartMath stress management techniques. I learned through HeartMath that Maj would be at their annual conference in Cancun to receive their 2016 HeartMath Humanitarian Heart Award in December, and I immediately registered to attend. Soon after I arrived, we were introduced and set a time to meet later that week for me to interview with him for a volunteer position in Lebanon. And this is the photo that I took of him receiving his humanitarian award. During the interview, we spoke of the needs of those who were displaced, and he said the sign of a civilized society is how well they care for their weakest members, particularly children and the elderly. Maj viewed himself as a citizen of the world, and having made that journey from head to heart to concrete action from the inspiration of his heart into a life of service, creating an organization that cared for those with trauma around the world. He gave me the okay to come and help with a new program we were to develop under the condition that I brought my own interpreter who spoke both Arabic and English. And I trusted if I was truly being called, I would have no trouble finding one. The original plan we made was for me to come to Lebanon in March when the weather was better, but for some reason, both of us felt a prompting to move my initial needs assessment visit up to January. I would later come to understand why. Maj had 2 therapy centers in Lebanon and 1 in Jordan, named the International Institute for Psychosocial Development, or IIPD. It was arranged that I would fly to Beirut and travel to his IIPD center in Bekaa Valley. This is where the story takes a very interesting turn. If you remember the earlier slide about the HeartMath article about Maj's work to bring ease amid chaos, one of the people who commented on that article was Rhonda, stating she wanted to volunteer at Maj's center. I texted her and came to learn that she lived in Bekaa Valley, less than 30 minutes from Maj's center. She spoke both English and Arabic and was currently unemployed and available to volunteer as a translator for my time in Lebanon. Wow, talk about divine orchestration. Here are some basic facts about the refugee crisis in Lebanon. And I won't go into too much detail on the numbers, but want you to simply keep in mind that the Syrian war began 12 years ago, and millions of people are still displaced, living in tents with lingering symptoms of trauma and stress. Most of these people have lost everything, including loved ones. Syria was a beautiful country before the war. I want to share some before and after photos so you can get an idea of what many of the refugees experienced and escaped from. That photo on the left could be a resort in Miami Beach, and this is what the aftermath was. This could be any tree-lined street in your own neighborhood. This is the same street after it was bombed. This could be any thriving city street in your country. This is the same location in the aftermath of war. Maj saw firsthand the effects of war and was doing everything in his power and at his own personal sacrifice and expense to support the innocent victims who suffered these losses. He began his work there in 2013. I remember that as he drove me through the camps, he commented how we could see refugee tents for miles and miles. My first day in Lebanon, Rhonda joined me as interpreter, and we hit the ground running, going out with the IIPD team to canvass and take trauma assessments of those living in the camps. Despite the bleak conditions and hardships, the Syrian and Lebanese people are known for their hospitality. This was such a delight to spontaneously share Turkish coffee with the residents who played host to us in the camp, quickly setting up chairs and tables in the middle of a mud-soaked pathway through the tents. Once the assessment questions were answered and tallied to determine if anyone in the home had trauma symptoms, they were offered the opportunity to receive free transportation and trauma relief therapy in the 6-week I Can program at the IIPD Center. The 6-week I Can program involved both mother and child. If the mother is not regulated and in peace, it's almost impossible for a child to become self-regulated on their own. This is Rhonda and I with some of the staff at the IIPD Center. Maj was so impressed with Rhonda's skills that he hired her as his administrative assistant. Rhonda had been out of work for 2 years, and Maj needed someone to help him write his grants in English. Rhonda now had a job, Maj had help, and I had a friend that could work with me on the program. That was an exciting win-win for all of us. Sadly, 3 weeks following my visit on February 15th, 2017, Maj traveled into Syria to visit a sick family member and then went missing, reportedly detained by the Syrian government. Within months, his center was shut down due to his absence and lack of funds. Rhonda was there throughout the entire shutdown of the operation. Had I not changed my timeline to come to Lebanon in January rather than March, we may never have embarked on this particular unfolding journey together. Over the past few years, we've supported Maj's family in trying to get information from the US government about his whereabouts and to obtain his release. The first photo is of Maj and his daughter Miriam, who is on our advisory board of Be in Peace. Here are some photos of our visit to Washington, D.C. with the Kamal Maz family to advocate with Congress for Maj. So far, we've been given very little concrete information, but remain hopeful. You can learn more about his story, his humanitarian work around the world on our website at beinpeace.org. To honor Maj's work, the HeartMath Institute developed a trauma-sensitive training certification program called The Resilient Heart, which is open to anyone to take and features interviews with Maj that were conducted during his attendance at the HeartMath annual conference. Both Rhonda and I have taken the training, and Rashida is scheduled to take it shortly. We highly recommend it. It is excellent. You can Google the Resilient Heart HeartMath Trauma Training for more information, or go to the heartmath.org website. Though at the beginning of this presentation, I said my story with Be in Peace began in 2016, I think it actually began earlier, back in 2013, when I was going through a very painfully stressful time in my life. I was in recovery from a loss, unfulfilled in my job, and just not living my best life. I came upon what is known as the Metta Loving Kindness Prayer, which offered me tremendous emotional relief. Curious about its positive effect, I started researching the various versions of the prayer, and soon, like working with poetry, I had created my own personal version of the Metta prayer, which begins with the phrase, "May I be in peace." Not long after, I discovered HeartMath and their stress management techniques, which was another support in my heart journey. When I began my certification training with HeartMath in the spring of 2016, I was astonished to discover that before ever hearing of HeartMath, I had somehow written my Metta Meditation that reflected the intention, process, and result of becoming what HeartMath terms heart coherent. Then in early 2017, during my stay working with Maj, I learned that his moniker, his email address, and his catchphrase were "Be in Peace." This was another synchronicity connecting to the opening words, "May I be in peace," of what became known as Metta Coherence Meditation, which we will meditate together with shortly. I believe that when we make that journey from our head to our heart guides us to follow our deepest resonance and callings in order to put us on the path our hearts want to follow. This is living from our heart to be in a state of peace and taking actions our heart calls us to bring peace into the world. Though it's been a very challenging yet rewarding few years, we're very proud to announce that earlier this year, Be in Peace, the nonprofit charity organization Rhonda and I founded to continue the peace work inspired by Maj Kamalmaz, received our 501c3 tax exemption status. Our dear friend, linguistics professor and peace advocate, Dr. Rashida Faid, has recently joined our board and will assist Rhonda in translating HeartMath's stress management techniques into Arabic to share this peace work first in Lebanon and later, God willing, or as they say in Arabic, inshallah, throughout the Middle East. The Be in Peace logo combines the English word peace and the Arabic word salam, which means peace. This is one small way where symbolically the West joins with the Middle East in peace as a way for all of us to be in peace. We again invite you to visit our website, beinpeace.org, and learn more about Be in Peace and the amazing legacy of Maj Kamalmaz and the trauma and stress relief work we're endeavoring to bring into this world. If you are inspired to support world peace by contributing to our peace work, please consider making a donation to our latest program of translating HeartMath's stress management techniques into Arabic to share with those who are still suffering from the ongoing pain of war and displacement. Let's help them be in peace. So now it's time for our metta coherence meditation that I spoke about earlier. Coherence is a heart math term to describe that state of being in peace and alignment, of that state of being of peace and alignment between the heart and the brain, and is reflected in that balanced state of our nervous system. I invite you now to join me as we bring ourselves into peace through this meditation. I will lead you through a heart coherence breathing technique and will recite the words of metta, which means loving kindness, setting intentions for peace as you breathe the feelings and emotions of these words into your heart. We will do 3 rounds of the meditation. First, for yourself to get into alignment, then to extend those intentions out to a loved one or even someone you may be in a challenge with, then out into the entire world of all beings. So with that, let's come together with our feet placed firmly on the floor and get that sense of grounding, making a connection with the earth. And bring your focus and attention to the area of your heart. And if it helps you to place your hand on your chest, you're welcome to do so. You can leave your eyes open or close them, whatever you're most comfortable with. And now begin to breathe a little slower and deeper than you normally do. Perhaps a 5-second breath in and a 5-second breath out. And begin to imagine that your breath is moving through your heart as your heart expands and contracts with each inhale and exhale, as if it were a set of lungs. And as you find a rhythm that's comfortable for you, bring into your heart with your breath the words of this metta coherence meditation and the feelings and emotions to open up your heart as we say, may I be in peace. May my heart remain open. May I live with a heart and mind that is always in balance. May I accept with understanding and wisdom the events in my life and world. May I forgive others and myself for the inevitable harms we cause each other. May I awaken to the light of my own true nature. May I be healed and whole. And may I be an instrument of healing and wholeness for all beings. Take a deep breath in. And on the out breath, know that you are being filled with these energies of love and intentions of peace that you can share out into the world. And I invite you to bring to your mind and heart perhaps a loved one or someone you're in challenge with, someone who could really use this peace. And send these intentions through the words of metta loving kindness to them as we say from our heart, may you be in peace. May your heart remain open. May you live with a heart and mind that is always in balance. May you accept with understanding and wisdom the events in your life and world. May you forgive others and yourself for the inevitable harms we cause each other. May you awaken to the light of your own true nature. May you be healed and whole. And may you be an instrument of healing and wholeness for all beings. Take a deep breath in, and on the out breath, extend those loving intentions to the one in your heart. Now I invite you to imagine that the entire planet is floating right in front of you. This beautiful blue earth that sustains us and gives us life and nourishment. And imagining all beings on this planet, humans, animals, vegetables, minerals, all plant life and trees. Set the intention now to extend metta to all beings and to this planet itself, including us, as we say, may we be in peace. May our hearts remain open. May we live with hearts and minds that are always in balance. May we accept with understanding and wisdom the events in our lives and world. May we forgive others and ourselves for the inevitable harms we cause each other. May we awaken to the light of our own true nature. May we be healed and whole, and may we be instruments of healing and wholeness for all beings. Take a deep breath in, and on the out breath, imagine that these loving intentions are circling the earth and touching into hearts who are open to receive them. And right now, we think of our friend, Mashkamamas, and we send him this loving light of peace with the intention that he will return back to us soon. And now, as we take another deep breath, we begin to come back, feeling our feet on the floor, wiggling our toes and our fingers. And as we take another deep breath, we open our eyes and come back. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Rhonda and Rashida, is there anything that you'd like to say before we say goodbye to everyone, or anyone else on the call that wants to share? Anyone listening in.
I want to thank you, Renata, for guiding us in this beautiful practice. And I want to thank everybody here who added their beautiful energy and their beautiful heart into bringing more peace to this world today just by practicing with us. Thank you, everyone.
This is Barbara, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for putting this together and honoring what you did, all the work, Maj, and all the work everyone has done in keeping this alive, that people don't forget, and to bring to focus the importance of peace in our world, because we are all one.
Thank you so much, Barbara. And you've been with us on this journey with Maj from very early on when we did that World Peace Day back in 2018. And you were a
Yes.
big part of that. So thank you for following along with us and always keeping Maj in your heart. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm sorry my camera doesn't work, but thank you all so much.
Thanks, Barbara. All right,
Thank you,
everyone.
everybody. This was great. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rashida. Thank you
Have
for,
a great evening. Or
thank
great
you.
day.
And we'll say goodbye, everyone. And till we meet
Goodbye.
again, be in peace.